Hey, it's Dan here with Air Parts, and today what I want to go over is mid-roll cartridge maintenance, and then we're also going to take a look. We're going to verify setup while we do that. That's something that we should always do. People tend to forget about things like what color insert does it have and how many tuning rings are in each roller. A lot of times it's just looking at things like that, but today I'm gonna use a roller that a customer of ours brought in. Wanted us to actually install green continue-rate metering rolls into it. So we're gonna use this one for an example, and I'm gonna start by taking a paint pen and marking this thing out. Usually how I do it is I 1 through 8, and then I'll also start by, I'll write PTO or drive end, and I'll work my way along. So we remember, how it came apart. We can put it back together the same way. So I'll start by doing that. Okay, so I numbered it out 1 through 8. I note my drive end and don't really need to, but I write center. I always make a line across that just helps when you're putting it back together, so you can see the orientation. So now I can begin to disassemble, and then as I disassemble it, I'll just kind of be inspecting things like the insert, the brush, things like that, and we'll go ahead and start taking it apart. All right, so I'll start by showing you the tools that we usually use are, I use a small vice grip, and that's what I use to hold the rods. I hold this together, and a 15mm flat wrench. To remove the tone wheel, you need a 13mm flat wrench and a 13mm socket. So I'll go ahead and start by removing the tone wheel. And I always remind everyone, don't lose the bushing. That came off nice. Okay, now we'll go ahead and remove the tie rods. Okay. Okay, so we've got to an area that this roller came apart pretty easily until we get to the center, and there's a rusty area right here. That center section where I see that before, where there was dust and grain that sat in there and got wet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a wire wheel and I'm going to brush this so that we can get the rest of this apart. And one thing you'll usually come across is one roller that's stubborn and you can't get it off there because there is rust on the shaft and you're not able to slide it off. So this is a little trick as to getting that off. I usually just take the snap ring off. I'll have a wire wheel on a drill. This works well. But what I'm going to do, this one is stuck on there. So I'm going to take the snap ring off. A lot of times, if they haven't been apart for a few years, you'll get one roller that is stuck to the shaft, rust. So what I'm going to do is, just a trick that I do is I'll just take a screwdriver and I'm going to pop the snap ring off of here and slide the roller off and then pry the two plastic sleeves off of the shaft. I mean, we're not reusing this, so it doesn't matter that we've ruined it. I mean, if you need to, you can just clean the snap ring up and get it off with the snap ring pliers too. Well, there it came. Well, that one came better than I expected. It just was able to slide off. I was planning on taking the disc, sliding that off, and then I would have pried the two plastic inserts off of the shaft, but this one came apart better than I thought it was going to. I'll take my wire wheel and just clean the rest of the shaft up. Okay, so we continue taking it apart. All right, now we can start in our inspection and reassembly. So I'll start by looking at the bushing on this drive side. Yeah, and it is, there's very little wear on the bushing, so I'm just going to go ahead and reuse this bushing. These black plastic shells now. We're going to take a look at them. If they are worn thin on this edge, there is nothing we can do. I'll put, this is important, and these look to be excellent condition. There doesn't seem to be much wear in them in them at all. I'm comparing right up here all the way through. This is in excellent condition, so we won't have any trouble reusing these. I'm going to look at my brush. These brushes look to be in very good condition. Now I'm noticing this has the black insert. This is a higher rate, and they look to be in good condition. One thing I always look for is any damage that's been done to this insert. Where you can find wear, or else even a mouse. Brought this one to show. A mouse looks like he's chewed this yellow insert. So that one we won't be able to reuse. But most of this looks like we can just go ahead, clean it up, and reassemble. I did forget to mention this earlier, but we do have to verify which runs had tuning rings on, and I did note that rows 2, or primary 2, 3, 7, or 6 and 7 had one single tuning ring. So we're gonna put the tuning ring on the continuity roller. I placed some tuning rings in some warm water to make them a little more pliable. So I'm going to go ahead and install these now. That makes them a little softer, easier to work with. Now there is a spur or a barb on the tuning ring. You have to note that, look for that. And these are intended for insulation on one direction. I did make another video all on tuning rings, so you can also have a look at that video, but just note that. And that's how they should go on. Install them, just I've got them centered. Double check your snap ring, make sure it's in the groove all the way around. Perfect. I know I make this look pretty easy, but it's only because I've probably done 1,000 of them. And that warm water trick really makes a difference. So we went ahead, we installed the single tuning ring on the 4 rollers that needed one, and now we're ready to keep going with our assembly. A lot of times I'll spray some dry slip plate or dry graphite on this. I don't have any here in the room with me today, so I'm not going to do that, but something we do. You can, if you have it handy. And I guess before I go putting the cap and the nuts and everything back on, I'm just going to take a look, and we've got, yeah, 1, 4, 5, and 8, no tuning ring, 1 tuning ring in the 2, 3, 6, 7, that's all correct. So just wanted to double check before I started bolting things up. Well, one thing I'm going to do before I do that is I'm going to put a new seal on the cover. This is time to be replaced. I just take a sharp screwdriver, flat screwdriver, and just start prying my way, prying this off. It's tough, but you can get it. Got it started here. Now let's roll this one off. Just note the way that seal came off, the lip actually kind of faces out. You'll notice it. Looks good. Again, I'll look at my cover seal, or my cover bushing here. This is a very important time to stop and make sure that you have this correct. There are little plastic pin or dowels. You have to make sure that you're getting that in the right position. I guess on all these segments. These little dowels, once they're flattened out, you might as well take your knife and just cut them off of there. You can't really save them, and that's used for orientation. So just make sure you're watching that as you're putting it together. Now when I put this together and I look at it, there's no gaps between these sections. The lid fits on nice and tight, and I haven't started, I haven't put the nuts on and even started tightening it up. So that's we did a good job on this one. So I'll go ahead, grab my handle, and always remember, the long portion of the handle sticks forward. So when I go to put this on, And I always look at the dust line, something to, you know, that'll help you. So this is this roller, the lock, the top, you know, on the cover there is showing on the top, the lock. You'll see all that. I'm going to go ahead now and just start the nuts. I always mention these, you could just keep tightening them because I mean we're just squeezing plastic, so it's very important. I always start by evening them out. I'll just have the rod flush with the outside edge of the nut. We'll start there. Okay, so that one tightened up where I'd like it to be, and there is about a half a thread showing on this rod past the edge of the nut. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to tighten this one up to match it. I'm going to call it good. I'll take a couple close-ups of that and show them. So now I'm left to put the tone wheel on. Need a hammer. Perfect. Sometimes you have to give that drive in, just give it a little tap where the two-prong drive dog is, because it's now I see I'm lined right up to drop the bolt through the tone wheel. Dropped right in. And I always finish by turning the roller over, making sure it turns over nice and smooth. I look now and the new bearing, you know, that plastic disc is actually, they call it a bearing in John Deere's catalog, but they fit nice and tight up against the black shell, you know, the surface that it's got to rub against. This looks like it went together really good, and this roller went really well today. But the things that we looked at were the brushes, we looked at the bushings, we inspected the insert, we made sure that there hadn't been a stone or anything went through there and tore that up. We were replacing the meter rollers, so it didn't matter if they were good or not. Yeah, we didn't even replace the brush because they look so good. We put the tuning rings on the new rollers, installed and put it all back together, and it turned out really good shape. So those are things to look for. It'd be nice if a person could do this every year. I know that's maybe doesn't happen, but maybe every other year if a person could say to themselves, that's what we'd like to do. But just remember some of those tricks to getting a tough meter apart. You know, I've taken that snap ring off, removed that disc, pulled that meter roller off, and then you can pry those two plastic inserts off of the shaft, wire wheeling it up really good, spray a little dry graphite, that's what I usually use, and then you can put it all back together. So that'll make a good roller for this man for years to come, it looks like. So everything I wanted to talk about, so thanks for watching.